Hey traders, welcome back. So we're talking about increasing position size. This is part 3 of a hopefully 3-part video. I'm going to try to squeeze it into this last video. We've talked loads about this and I love this topic. It's one of my favorite topics. So go check out part 1 and part 2. We're talking about increasing position size mid-trade and for different strategies and setups. Now we're talking about how you increase your position size as you're improving as a trader. Okay, so we have talked about this. Now, if you haven't checked out part 1 and part 2, you must go and check them out before you watch this. Please do so. Okay, we had the scenario now where we're risking £100 a trade, risking 100 grand per trade. For most of us, risking 100 grand per trade as a retail trader with your own money on the line is too much. Okay, day trading the DAX, risking 100 grand in the first hour of the day, probably for most of us, that's gonna pinch. And similarly, let's change this example because I want to go I want to show the extremes for you guys, and we'll bring it in. Let's say you're risking 10p per point. Is that right? Yeah, 10p per point. And so in the same case, we're risking 10 points. Here, we're risking £1, right? 10p times 10, £1. Most of us here are pretty unbothered about risking £1. Okay, on your trading, and most of us here are pretty concerned about risking £100,000 per trade. Okay, so we've found two massive extremes now. On paper, it's identical, same trade, same liquidity, you can take it the same size. Let's say you've got account balance to suit it. Why don't you risk that? Okay, but you get to a point, right, and this is the key to the whole increasing position size. Let's say you start off at £1, you're risking £1, you're finally doing okay, and then you move up to, let's say you move up to a big jump to £5, because it's still kind of not a lot of money to you, right? £5 risk is not a lot of money. And then you move up and you find, let's say we move up and we get to £100. Okay, now we're at a point where, and this is going to obviously be different for each person, but we're at a point now where £100 comes a little bit more meaningful per trade. If you lose 5 trades a day, lost 500 quid a day. If I lose 5 days, okay, that's starting to get more meaningful in my beginning of my trading career. I need to be a bit more careful. But let's say we're doing okay in our trading. Let's say we're improving, and let's say that's good. So let's say now we want to increase our position size. We increase our position size to £1,000. Whoa, 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 whoa! All of a sudden, we've made this leap from being comfortable to being uncomfortable. Hey, you know, £100 was okay. £1,000 a trade, no, whoa, hang on. You know, I've got 5 trades a day I can lose. That's 5k a day. You know, if I lose 5 days in a row, 25 grand, easy, you know. So we're now at a point where we go, okay, we're comfortable at 100, we're uncomfortable at 1,000. We've brought the boundaries in a bit. We're still doing well in our trading. That's the assumption we've got to make here. We're doing well in our trading because there's no point in trying to increase our position size if we're not doing well in our trading. I did forget to mention that, but assuming, I guess you guys know that obviously if you're not doing well in your trading, don't try and increase your position size. Get your trading down so it's working well. You've got a good system, good strategy, good rhythm, everything's flowing, and then look to increase the position size. So now we're at that point where, okay, we've got our barrier now is 100 and 1,000. 1,000's a little bit too much. So what about if we said to ourselves, okay, can we risk 200? Okay, £200 per trade. And we say, how do we feel about that? You start to say, okay, yeah, I don't mind that. You're £200 a trade. I'm doing well. I've got a bit more capital in my account. I'm prepared to risk £200 trade. Okay, fine. And you go, okay, what about, let's move down from the other direction now. What about if you risk £800 a trade? Oh, I don't really, that's my, whatever. You start to relate that to money that is in your life at the moment. Perhaps it's your car payment or your mortgage or whatever. Okay, obviously the numbers, bear with me on the numbers, it's going to be different for different people, but let's say you start to relate that to your net worth and the value that you've already got on money. Obviously, if you're living in a yacht and you've got plenty of money behind you, then this level is going to be shifted up, but you're still going to find a level. You're still going to find a level that pinches for you. So that's the point of this strategy, is that there is a level where your psychology changes, and this is what we're trying to find here. So let's not prolong this too much, guys. I could be here forever, but let's not prolong this. Let's say, okay, 800 is too much, 200 is fine. Let's say we get to the point where we go, okay, £300 per trade. That's a little bit too much. However, you know what? 280, I feel comfortable with. 280 I feel comfortable with. That's what I'm going to risk per trade. 300 is a little bit too much, 200, and it seems silly that it's that £20, but something in you and your personality and your style and again, your net worth and all this kind of stuff and experience in trading will tip you over that discomfort line. You want to get to the maximum level you can, to the discomfort point. You can't really see it on the camera, can you? To the maximum level you can, discomfort point, and then back off a little bit, which is why we got to the point where risking £300 a trade, how do you feel about that with your existing strategy? You've had 10 losers in a row at some point. You're okay with being down 3k on your account? Oh, you know, no, it's a bit much for me. That's, you know, that's a holiday, or that's this, that's that. And then you knock it down, you say, okay, what about 280, 2,800? Yeah, you know what, I can stomach that. And if that's not right, you keep knocking it down until you get to a point where you feel it's comfortable. Now, why are we doing all this? What's the whole point behind this thing? Or maybe extended it a bit too long. If you're still here, good job. But the point is that psychologically, there's a level where you tip over the edge. Psychologically, you want to stay in where you still don't care about the money. If you're trading and you care about the money, you're in trouble. Because the moment you start thinking about the profit or the loss, when you pull that trigger, you are doomed. And this is just my opinion on it, and others have got the same opinion, and I think this is the right way of approaching it. If you disagree with me, feel free to put it in the comments below, let me know what you think about it. But my opinion is, if you start to think about the money when you're trading, forget it. The game's over for you, because scientifically it's proven that you use a different section of your brain when you're thinking about money, or when you've got a fight or flight, when you're activating a different part. So this is really what we're doing on a scientific level, is we're trying to find the level that we can risk where we don't activate the other part of our brain, which makes a different decision. Because we make a different decision, we're a different trader. We're making the different decisions, we're going to make poor decisions. We want to still make those clinical, careful decisions that we do with £1 a point or 10p a point, that we're doing with £280 a point. So we're finding that sweet spot. Okay, that might be a bit much, appreciate that. I've just literally used it as an example. It might be kind of £11 a point, £12 a point, but then going to 15 is too much. Something like that. I mean, I appreciate I've probably gone a little bit high on the numbers here, but you get the idea. Once you get to that level and then you get comfortable with it, then you stretch it again a bit. I'm a bit uncomfortable, then you knock it back a couple. So you're always trying to stretch it. And the point is, again, reiterating it, is you don't want to get to the stage where you're thinking about the money too much and there's a different part of your brain making the trading decision, because then it all becomes about the money. You're not focused about making the right trade. You're not focused on saying, you know what, I don't care if I lose the money. I'm comfortable with losing that amount of money. Actually, that wasn't pound a point, was it? That was total risk. That makes sense. I'm comfortable with risking that amount of money. And so I can make the trades as I was, methodically, with the strategy. I'm not going to be trigger shy. I'm not going to be concerned about a string of losers, all that kind of stuff. And if you're uncomfortable, knock it down, knock it down, knock it down. And for me, this is a variable thing. You know, increase it as you're doing well. As you feel uncomfortable with stuff, dial it down. And also, sometimes, guys, let's be honest, some day you'll step in front of the screen and you feel a little bit, you know, I'm comfortable. By all means, dial it down for the day. You know, I've got nothing against doing something like that and saying, hey, I need to reduce this position size because I don't feel that comfortable with it today. But you've got to keep stretching yourself at the same time. But there's no point in putting yourself in a position where you're making the wrong decisions. So anyway, that's my take on increasing position size. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this, guys. How you increase position size, what stage of trading you're at the moment, any ideas or any questions as well that perhaps I can answer for you, or try and answer. If I can help, I will. Give it a thumbs up if you like this video, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos from me and other traders on this channel. And also don't forget to check out the previous 2 videos in this series, because it all kind of makes sense putting it together. See you in the next one, guys. Take care. Good trading.